Here we are, Words with Jay, man.
Happening, Jay.
First time. What's the word with you, man? How you
Good,
living?
man. Good. Life is good.
Yeah, life is great.
Words with Jay, a conversation with Jay Sar. Send your questions and inquiries to wwj@imjsar.com.
You know where we sitting now, man. I remember before we got here, it was a different crib, and then I remember moving that whole. We moved the whole entire house with an S10.
S10. Yeah, that was my brother-in-law's truck.
Man,
I mean, I felt like I paid enough building the house from scratch.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. I wasn't gonna wait any longer to get in here. So welcome to the spot, man. Welcome to the spot. Thanks for having me on your production today.
Oh man, I think this whole thing becomes production because I remember the first time we actually linked up was
we come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah, very long way, right? Like it's all about evolution, progression. We did the video, and you came in, you assisted. I was doing it with Gunho.
Dave Lampone.
Lampone.
Yeah. I was hanging out with him in New York. He took me to Sylvia's in Harlem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We had dinner and everything with his girlfriend with a blast.
Okay, that's great, man.
He asked about you too.
Oh yeah. I haven't talked to him in a while. That was our initial introduction, and then I know sometime a little time passed, and I remember I was pushing carts. This is around the time when I was working on that album, and I was doing the promotion, like the billboard thing was going on in Patrick Henry Mall and all that. And I remember, I think you were walking out of, I think it was like Office Depot, Office Max, whatever it was, and we happened to cross paths, and you was like, "Yo, what you up to, man?"
Oh yeah,
That's when we linked up, and I remember we first had that conversation. We didn't really see eye to eye. Like I think we both had different perspectives musically.
Well, Lampone really big upped you.
Yeah.
Lampone was like, you gotta meet Jay, you gotta meet Jay Sar, and it was J Dub back then.
Yeah.
And he was really like a serial fan of yours, biggest fan, point blank, period.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, man, because he saw things bigger. He didn't see what we were doing. He saw what we could be. And that's what I love about him. And that's why we still hang out. What's like 10, 12 years later.
Right.
I go to New York. I'm hanging out with him. And so he's that type of guy. So we still partners. All of us still in the same circle.
Words with Jay is brought to you by the Red Box Rhyme series. You never know what's in the box.
We sat down, at the spot before we moved, before the
S10. I had another place in Newport News. Bad News was happening.
Uptown.
And I had a little studio there, and really it was kind of ironic how I decided to even get into music because that really wasn't what I was driven to do.
Okay.
I was driven to do video production.
Right.
So that was my thing, but back then, I was working on a little B movie called. Originally it was called Wiggers.
Okay.
When we brought it out as Wiggers, everyone just freaked out because that was the early time to be calling white guys. Because the movie was about 5 white guys who pulled off the party of the year in the hood.
Right.
And we changed it to Can I Hit It to make it more friendlier.
It was a dope movie though. Like
Well, I mean, we got lucky with that in the sense that we had a great soundtrack with that. We had Ski on it, helped us produce the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Crumb Snatcher was featured on it. Knots, he had some features on it. With back then, Knots, he was with the Dirty Rats. He had a group called the Dirty Rats. Classic.
Yeah.
We got that in vinyl too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of we had DJ Premier on the joint, so the soundtrack was crazy. This was like '98. I'm 20, 21, 22 years old.
Right.
And it caught the eye of Russell Simmons.
Right.
And he took a 6-week option on it. And he wanted to replace all the white guys that we had casted in the movie. He wanted to put Mark Wahlberg and the Beastie Boys. If you could imagine the Beastie Boys and Mark Wahlberg, and this is before Mark blew up.
Right.
But he was doing his thing. But if you could imagine the 5 white guys in a movie called Can I Hit It? Mark Wahlberg and the Beastie Boys.
Wow.
It would have changed the trajectory of my whole career.
Right.
And it would have been the first movie. It would have been the first American release for Def Jam Films.
Okay.
At that particular time, Russell had sold Def Jam. He took a 6-week option on the film. Went and got Mark Wahlberg to commit, but the label, the people that were running Def Jam at the time, would not release the Beastie Boys for the film, which was crazy, But they wouldn't release it. But the only way Russell would move forward, and we knew that, was that if he got commitments from not only Mark but also the Beastie Boys, and we knew that going in.
Right.
But he did try to do it. It would have been their first American release. they wound up releasing Bill Bellamy's movie, Booty Call.
Okay.
And that was the first Def Jam film release. Now, Russell was doing European releases a lot of people didn't know about. You know, he was just kind of getting his feet wet and that type of thing. And then he was ready. And we would have been the first big movie from Def Jam film.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we started out.
When he spoke about you, he did speak highly of you. But of course, there was a lot that, over the course of our interaction dealing with each other, man, there's a lot of jewels that you dropped on me, based on your experiences. You did delve in music, though, in the area.
Well, I'm going to be honest, right after we finished the film project and Def Jam kind of, we weren't able to close that deal, the process of making that soundtrack intrigued me. I mean, it blew my mind, man. I was like, I'm around cats who, matter of fact, I'm going to be honest with you, Ski Beats.
Yeah.
He had just finished. He's really influenced me. He had just finished producing that Reasonable Doubt album for Jay-Z.
Classic, right?
Yeah. And so he had. We was in his crib in Brooklyn. He had a bedroom set aside. It was a studio where he'd done his pre-production.
Yeah.
And so we were in there working on From Snatchers, Mobster, Gangster Disease, and it was actually a song called Mobsters.
Yeah.
And but we were working on that, and I saw it. And inside of about 2 hours, he had finished the whole song. Finished it. So we jumped in this M45, that Infinity. He had the new one as soon as the joint came out.
Okay.
New sound system, everything.
Yeah.
So we ride. Well, he liked to ride with his beat, right? So we riding around in the M45, listening to this joint, and it's banging, And so we knew we had a good joint, right? And so working with Ski, seeing what he done, I was like, damn, he just made all this cheddar this quick.
Yeah.
This quick. In 2 hours. He made a nice piece of money, plus royalties and points and all that shit to hits.
Yeah.
I didn't have to see anything else. So when I got back to VA, I called around and I wanted to because he had 2 MPCs in a Trinity. That's what he made Reasonable Doubt with, in a mixer, digital mixer. That's what he made Reasonable Doubt with. Okay, so and I love Reasonable Doubt. That was my shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And to have work with him right post making a classic, he was so hyped. It was infectious. Everything that was happening at that time was everybody was just everyone was doing that next level shit.
Words with Jay, a conversation with Jay Sar. Send your questions and inquiries to wwj@imjsar.com.
I got back to home and I called up to DC to Chuck Lovett's. It was the only music distributor that had MPCs in this region at that particular time, and they only had one. They had an MPC 2000, MPC 2000, and I brought that, and then I went up to AL&M, and I brought my Trinity.
Wow, time to change.
And
man.
I just started producing music from there. It took a while because it still wasn't my main focus.
Right.
But I just had to either put that fire out or I had to build that fire up.
Right.
Because it wasn't going out by itself.
Yeah, understood. And when we first started working together, it was a while before you began to share the stories. So I just knew
there's so many of them, man. This is like I'm gonna be honest, man. It's a life like well lived.
Yeah.
But matter of fact, I put a post on Facebook recently about that particular production. When we made Monsters, we had Mark Kleinsfeld was the director. Mark was he had directed like Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys. He'd done a bunch of stuff with Jermaine Dupri. He'd done a bunch of stuff with Jermaine Dupri, Ludacris when he first came out. So we were in good company then. Fast forward 2015, Mark Kleinsfeld done the Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa video for Furious 7.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, my dude is still doing it. So I had to do my Throwback Thursday. So I put what we were doing back then with From and Ski and all that stuff, the music we were doing then, and fast forward to now to look at what my man Mark is doing now.
Yeah.
And hopefully when I get out to LA, we get a chance to kind of link back up because all of us are like a unit, man.
Mm-hmm.
If whether I see you 10 years from today or 15 years from today or whatever, or tomorrow,
Right.
it doesn't change anything.
Indeed.
We done good business together. We good friends. You just pick up where you left off and you keep
Right,
moving.
right.
What you doing now, man? How can I influence that?
Right.
That's how we always got down, man.
Right, and
So,
you know, it goes back to when we first ran into each other. Like after a period, that's what you asked me. What you
Yeah.
doing now?
What you doing
like
now?
Those were
Yeah.
the exact words. You told me that you seen some things, like, you know, and honestly, you said you wanted to see more. And as we linked together, I remember those studio sessions. You know, we started talking about. I think the first thing was you rap too much. You're saying too much. You're rapping too fast. You know, and I'm like, did he just say to me? Like, you know, you know how it is.
Oh, you knew
you
you right about what you're doing. You know how to do what you do.
Yeah,
and nobody could tell you anything different.
Right,
at that
right.
moment. Yeah.
But you know, and at the time, you know, I didn't understand what you were saying. So that's when we slowed it down. I remember those days where you had me punching in a song bar by bar by bar, like and showing me the spacing and all of the et ceteras. Like, because at the time, you know, I'm just sitting here like, man, do we really got to go through this whole song like this? Like, I could do it. I could just rap it. I was starting to see that, like, for one, when I had all those words, like, once you kind of slow it down like that, you're like, wow, you know, and like over time, of course, all of these things kind of, you know, it's like when you learn to drive, you know, when you're trying to do it, it's one thing, but eventually, you know, you just find yourself, you know,
driving.
Yeah, what is it? I forgot. It's been so long since I've been in the class, but you know, what was it, the 3, 6 or something like that, as far as like the
where you put your hands on the steering wheel and all that stuff.
Like for the life of me, I remember when
3,
they were
6,
teaching,
9, and 12.
when they were teaching me it, like I couldn't do it because I was focusing on it so hard. But like, you know, after the lesson was over, you know, it begins to, you know, that seed that was planted begins to grow, and like over the years, like the flow, you know, my whole entire style has really kind of transitioned from J Dub to J Saw because of how we worked. You know, how you sat down and really kind of really instilled a lot of your knowledge, you know, what you've been around in me. And of course the stories are always inspirational. And you know, I remember, I think it was, you had these 2 beat CDs that were in your closet. And I think you were gonna throw them away or something. And I was like, whoa, let me listen.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I want to say this is where we really started working, because you know, at first I think we had a conversation, and I think, you know, it was kind of like, maybe we don't see eye to eye, you know what I mean? But I went home, I took those beats, and I came back, and I think I want to say, I don't know if What I Do was the first one that you heard. But that record right there,
that was crazy. I still love that joint, man.
Yeah,
you killed that one. That was a classic, man.
Yeah.
But you know, that song was. I think I got inspired to make that by like the way Wycliffe was producing it that particular time. It was sort of a neo soul type of R&B hip hop.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to have that type of feel.
Yeah.
You know, so. And Wycliffe is like, I mean, he Grammy Award-winning producer. I mean, you know, so I get inspiration from, I like to say achievement. You know, if I think I'm seeing someone that has mastered a particular thing, I'm not going to copy that, but I'm going to get inspired by that. And I think that song, that track was inspired by Wycliffe. And the way you did what you did on it, especially after all the conversations we had in terms of, you know, your flow and everything, I think that was the first time I saw you bring it home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And really just kind of say, okay, I gotta meet this track note for note.
That was a proud moment for me though, because when you
and you did the music video for the joint.
Yeah. When you couldn't say anything, like when you couldn't really give me any like oh yeah, you should have did this. Like I was like, oh man. I was like,
nothing to be said.
You know, I was bringing a few records, and you were like, all right, you know what, maybe you should do it this way. Like, because I remember, I think No Pressure, I had to rewrite that 3 times just because you were like, nah, I don't like what you was doing. I mean, a lot of those lessons were tough, man, because like I said, but where it brought me to now, like, man, like now, like, you know, I don't think I was ready before. You know what I mean? Obviously.
Well, you know, in this business, and I've been in this business, you know, I mean, in a lot of different levels. I mean, I don't think I've reached the ceiling of what I'm capable of. But in this business, when you have someone that'll tell you the absolute truth, and not only tell you the truth, but I also give you tools that'll help you kind of make the adjustment that you need to make. That's a lost element in this business. Normally, people either they say, "Man, that was good," and then they hate it, and they know they hate it, but they'll never tell you.
Right.
It's just like I tell people sometimes. You know, when people tell you, you know, I mean, when we first started shopping music to like Jive Records and the labels and everything. We thought our shit was like the hottest, you know, and it was good, you know, until we hooked up with big producers that were capable of the real shit. When we were bringing our neighborhood producers that we thought were making good music, and it wasn't really engineered well. We liked it because, you know, and back then, you know, you could get away with some things. But the label, we would go to A&R and they'd listen to it, and the worst thing they could do is say, "Oh, wow, that was good. That was good. Let me let you listen to this." And they pull something off the shelf, put it in, and it just crushes you. It's the most. That's a humbling experience, and we experienced that quite a bit in the early days of what we were doing, because, you know, everyone was the volume was constantly everything was being ratcheted up. It was getting better and better and better. Engineering were getting better. Everything, the lyrics were getting better. Rap itself, rappers were getting better. Singers were getting better. And so, you know, you found yourself in this area where you had no one that could tell you how to proceed, because there was nothing like this R&B rap that was happening, or rap. We were creating this stuff organically. You know, either you had the formula, and it worked, however you pushed it and made it work, or guess what? They're going to pull something off the shelf and say, "Listen to this."
Words with J is brought to you by the Red Box Rhymes series. You never know what's in the box.
So when we hooked up with Ski, Premier, you know, Fanatic, and cats like that, the music element wasn't an issue. It was all about who's on the mic and what's their flow. And Crumb Snatcher was our dude that was, you know, we pushed as far as we could push. Premier had him on a couple of the joints with Guru. You know, we got him on the Training Day soundtrack. Matter of fact, you could hear that song, "Y'all Police Better Get Ready," on the end when the credits are rolling on Training Day. That's Crumb Snatcher. And Knots, my boy from Norfolk, he produced the track.
You know, you mentioned Knots, and you know, I was on three of the last 4 Welcome Home series.
Congratulations for that.
And that was major, like, because when cats in my crew was like, "Yo, you on a Knots project?" Like, Knots, like, he chose your song. Like, you gotta think about it. That's something we used to sit around, you know, doing what we do back in the day, listening to these Knots beats, and like that, it's unbelievable.
It was crazy. But Ninth Wonder says Knots is pound for pound the best producer in hip hop. Now Ninth Wonder's not a shabby cat itself. You know, but for your peers to actually rate you, you know, like pound for pound the single best, because and I said, Nas is one of those cats, and as well as Ski and a few other cats, Fanatic, and Mark Sparks. These guys are legendary for doing what I call change the game tracks. Okay, and I mentioned a couple names, but one in particular, I'm going to, you know, kind of just discuss for a second, and that is Mark Sparks. Most people in the industry know who he is. I mean, he's been doing beats since he was 16. His first hit was "Shoop" by Salt and Pepper. Shoop, Shooby Doo. Okay, he sold that track, no royalties, nothing. He just took the $50,000 rand and then moved to LA. Okay. Fast forward, he done a few more hits. Then he turned around and he produced him and Mike City produced Sunshine Anderson. Okay, and remember that joint? Heard It All Before? And that shit, the music that changed the whole terrain of the music business for almost, I know, a complete year. You know, that song, you could not get away from it. And these are the cats that I'm around. Knots, Mark Sparks, Fanatic did Crush on You with Lil' Kim. Shut it down. A bunch of stuff for Biggie. You know, these cats are like the real deal. When I say, you know, when you step into this arena, you step into this arena with a legacy of people and that's in your circle, even though you know some of them, but they're in your circle and they're ready to come to bat for you. But at the minute that you have reached a certain threshold where they see your art. They see your art. You don't have to explain what you do. You don't have to say anything. They get it. And then what happens is now what you're going to do is automatically ignite this primal instinct in them to produce their best. That's so I say that because, and if you in my circle, I'm in your circle, and all the people that's in my circle, all these cats that I work with over the years, and they got proteges too. Just like I work with you, I consider you a protege, but they got proteges too that produce, that they show them the tricks of their trade, because there's a formula to all this stuff. And especially after you've done it consistently over and over. I like this, and I use the example of a lyrical artist, let's say like yourself. You're evolving and you're developing your formula, but when you look at someone like Lil Wayne, what's happening to Lil Wayne as far as his lyrics and how he does what he does, it's not just by chance. It's not just off sheer energy. He has a formula. He's a smart cat. You know, these cats that Jay-Z, 50, these are no dummies, bro. Right. You know, they don't sit back and smoke crack or blah 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 every day and think they're gonna, you know, I'm gonna smoke blunts and, you know, that's not who they are. These are businessmen who are looking at every element of their business. And if the words that come out of his mouth is his business and how he can make them have more impact, he's looking at the surface of those lyrics that he writes down to see what the formula is, so that when he says what he says, it has the most immediate impact that it can have right away. There's no misconception of what he meant by what he said.
Power statements.
Absolutely. Say it as quickly as you can say it, because if you're in the streets and you got to say something quick, you got to get it. You got to deliver it. It may not be the words you say. It may be the gesture and the extras that's put on that one or two words.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing with music. The minute you find your formula and how you express yourself, you develop that formula and you just keep shifting it until you got a couple variations of it. And people already love it. So you just create these variations and you stay in that pocket and you just keep going.
Words with Jay is brought to you by the Red Box Rhymes series. You never know what's in the box.
That's what I believe where you are right now. I've watched you evolve, and we've had discussions over the years, and most recently, you know, and that is about, I guess you can say, your A game. You know, when people say bring your best A game, I tell people bring your best A++ game. See, because everybody has an A game. Everybody that's in this business now, it's about as good as it gets. Producers, lyrics, all of that is about as good as it gets. So what you have to do now is bring a A++ game. In other words, that when I say that change the game formula for when Mark Sparks got a track and it's Sunshine Anderson, or Ski does a track and it's Jay-Z. Because if you could imagine if Jay-Z and Ski got together right now, what would that look like? And they call it Reasonable Doubt 2, the sequel. Come on.
It looked like a flame.
Ugh. You know it would be crazy. So so what I'm telling you is that you have to bring your A++. Hey, what's up, babe? You have to bring your A++ game. You know, and you have to see what other people don't see, but you can't ask them to see your vision. What you have to do is make it real. See, it's just like what I'm doing with businesses that I run now. You know, I have certain people that I can conceptualize with, and then I have people that I would never even consider conceptualizing with, and I know the difference between the two. If I conceptualize with you and you're not a person that's capable of, you know, of picking up those pieces and putting it together, I'm speaking a foreign language to you. It doesn't matter how amped I am about it, how much I believe it, how much I think is possible, until I take that concept and put it in writing and have graphs and charts and numbers and profits and loss statements, what have you, and how we're going to implement this particular vision. I can't charge them to see it.
Words with Jay, a conversation with Jay Sar. Send your questions and inquiries to wwj@imjsar.com.
In this business, people think that I can talk to you, and just because I'm seeing these words, and a person says, "Oh, that sounds interesting," that they got it. They got less than 1% of what you were talking about, and the rest was irrelevant. See, and the bottom line is, what you have to do is you have to you create a vision, and then you build a bridge to it. Now, people, once you build that bridge, that's your momentum. Yes. Once you build that bridge, now people can see that's called, yes, that's your momentum. That bridge, as people see you building that bridge, and once it's complete, now the vision is complete. So momentum is important.
Yeah.
Have the proper momentum, build, take the steps to get to where you want to get,
Yeah.
make it all make sense, and then finish it out by developing that product or whatever that completes whatever it is you say that mission was.
Right.
And now you say, here it is, the CD, music video, the movie, whatever the case may be, it's done. You're not asking people to visualize it anymore.
Yeah.
Or to conceptualize you as a super artist or whatever. You don't have to say that. They love the music.
Yeah.
They love what you're doing. They saw the momentum.
Right.
It was inevitable. They may have saw you where you were going before you even got there. Because at some point they'd be like, oh, I get it.
And you said something. You said like seeing where somebody was going. Before they even got there. And I think that's one of those things that you've seen in me. It was a conversation we had early on. Because you kind of helped me develop the vision of like Jay Saw when Jay Saw was created. Like not only just as far as like the flow and all of that. Like it was the mindset. You can imagine like these conversations we've had over the years. Man, like I got a treasure chest in my head. Like the jewels that you dropped on me.
Okay.
Like, but it all developed. It developed the mindset. The belief. It kind of shaped the vision. To which now I can build a bridge because it when you just have raw, like you have raw talent, you have like a raw dream, it has to be shaped and molded, you know what I mean, into something that you could bring into fruition. And I think you had a lot of like when you said like almost like a protege, like you took me under your wing, and you just showed me life things, music to help develop the man behind JSR as well, so for that, man, I always appreciate
well,
that.
I see the reason why I do that because it was done for me.
Right.
When I was 16 and actually 14, 15, I jumped into this business not knowing I just wanted to get backstage passes to the Parliament Funkadelic concert.
Okay.
Rick James and all of that. That's all I wanted. And I wound up meeting some of the biggest promoters in the country and befriending them. Alan Heyman, Bill Washington, Sheba Freeman, Dimensions Unlimited. When they would bring, Atlantic Star, Can Function, the Gap Band, Cameo, and the list just went on. Rick James, Parliament. I could get backstage passes to all those shows. And one guy in particular, Bill Washington, he owned Dimensions Unlimited, really took me under his wing, and he invited me to his crib in D.C. And I saw how a promoter lives.
Okay.
A promoter, producer lives. 3-story crib that just was absolutely, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Wealth like I'd never seen before, right in the middle of DC on G Street.
Okay.
And that's another one of his companies was called G Street Express. And these guys were just, they built this business. But they took me under their wings early on. Arthur Rhines for Rising Tide Productions took me under their wings at an early age and just let me see what it was. If I took a trip to DC, I knew they was at the Capitol Center. All I had to do was show up.
Right.
Boom, I got my pass. I bring my friends, they got passes. And they didn't have to do that. I don't know what they saw in me, but they opened the door for me and let me see what that life was.
Right.
I started my first business at 16.
Okay.
And I started DJing at 16 and started my own production company.
Right.
And I started doing my proms and high school dances.
The Buddha Brothers in.
I brought the Buddha Brothers in when I started doing club promotions. I was a club promoter, so I brought the Buddha Brothers. DJ Law was one of my DJs,
Okay.
and he was in his bedroom just making mixtapes.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man, I want you to come to the club and DJ at the club. I brought him to the club, and then Phil Nelson and Chase. I from 103 Jams. I invited them over because I was doing radio promotions too. Right. So I brought them over, and I said, "You got to meet this new DJ, Law." Okay. And Chase loved him. Chase went back and talked with Janet Armstead. Janet Armstrong. Oh, Armstead, that was her name. Janet Armstead, and got her to get Law on the air. Now, Law was doing overnights then. Okay. He didn't care. That was his end. Right, but we got him on the air, and the rest is history. But that's for our area, Law was a a force, a life force. You know, he was hip hop. He loved hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone loved him, from DJ Red Alert to Kool Herc. Everyone respected and loved Law. And I think Law was from Brooklyn too, so he's a New York native. But it was, you know, for years he loomed over this area, and he was the fixture. Him and Big B were a fixture for hip hop. And we lost Law a few years ago. Matter of fact, you know, that was a huge loss for hip hop in this area.
Yeah.
And when I spoke at his funeral, I said that, you know, I got a chance to see an eagle soar. You know, and you know, it's like when you watch someone come up, and then all of a sudden, you know, I had moved to Baltimore. Even though he was on the radio, I moved to Baltimore and started doing some things there. He started building his whole operation here, and I get back, and he just soaring. He's the biggest thing on the radio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maintain that position. Basically, almost till the day he passed.
Right.
You know,
right, yeah.
that was amazing to see him from the beginning to the point where he got his wings, and then he just soared. And that's what I love seeing that with everyone that I work with.
Right.
You know, because I experienced that myself on numerous occasions. I'm soaring now because I can. You know, I've done what I had to do in the beginning to have the skill sets, you know, to be able to execute in anything that I want to do.
Right.
If I set my mind to it, I know how to figure out how to make it happen. And you've seen me take something from an infant stage to
the play, man. I remember we was in the rehearsal hall,
Yeah,
just sitting down, and it was just like this. Like, I remember I think my girl at the time was with me, the girl I was with, and she was just like, when we left, she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, it's a play that's coming together, because I mean, it was just like
yeah, it was kind of ragtag pulled together. Like, what is this? Yes, actors.
I remember, but I remember what you told me you were going to do with it, and everything that you said you were going to do, you did.
Yeah.
You brought the first African American play
to
Kimball
Theater. We started Kimball Theater. That was our home theater, and that was the Chaos in the House was the first African American play in production. We're the first production company in the history of Colonial Williamsburg.
Right.
That's now, since we brought here slaves. We brought here in Jamestown in slaves 400 years ago, 398 years ago, something like that. We had never performed on Duke of Gloucester Street. That was for the top, you know, people. You know, when the Queen comes from England, she goes to Colonial Williamsburg. That's where they have their evening at. Yeah. So I was honored, and just only by the grace of God we were able to do that.
Man, through all the it was a storm, all kinds of things.
Yeah. We've had we've done shows in you know, through hurricanes,
that opening night,
snow.
That opening night at Kimball Theater, man. Like, I remember, like, everything was going wrong. The weather, all kinds of things. When we pulled up, when we pulled up out there and we seen that sea of people, like
they won't let a hurricane stop them.
Yeah.
We had we sold, those shows were selling out left and right then when we first started. So I know God Hand was on that whole thing. So that was amazing. That was our start in the theatrical business. And we moved we moved the play over to Willard Hall. I brought in some bigger names. Miguel Nunez, brought him in. Christopher Williams. Brought in Gerald Austin from the Manhattans, lead singer from the Manhattans. Glenn Jones, R&B singer. I grabbed a lot of the. I respect I like to say my OGs. I grabbed those to grab them cats, bring them in, and then when we did our second production, that's another one I did. If a man don't work, a man don't eat. Yeah. But I did produce some other stuff with a partner who produced Will a Man Rob God. But that was Every Dog Has His Day with Dana Hubbard. But you know, if a man don't work, a man don't eat. And I brought in Tasha Mack. She played from the game, and she was principal on Steve Harvey's show. I brought her in for about 3 shows that we did at Willard Hall, and she killed it. She was just a pleasure to work with. I brought her in, Shirley Murdoch. You know, the As We Lay. She has that classic, and I brought in Miguel and a few other people. It was just a great production, and all of us are still in contact with each other. You know. And it's just the play industry has changed a bit, so
Right.
we kind of put that on the back burner for right now,
Yeah.
and we got some other things that we're looking at in the future.
It's a lot that you brought me around, a lot that you showed me. Well, I'm in good company, like based on, some of the individuals that you've been around, that you've seen kind of, soar, so to speak, and all of these tools that you gave me, like it's an endless amount of appreciation that I got to give to you, like, because like I said, without those summers, those spending that whole entire summer in the studio, working every day.
Yeah.
I remember there was days you called me come through, like there was so much I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Everybody's running around having fun, but nah, like and it's not only that I locked in, but you actually took your time. A busy man like yourself, you took your time and actually gave me a whole summer just to work with me. And man, that's really. I mean, you've been there, like, you know what I'm saying, when times was hard, couldn't pay my rent sometimes. I remember you came through, you looked out, like, even, I think, I want to say we was at the Kimball Theater, I want to say opening weekend. I remember I was working with you, it was my birthday, you found out it was my birthday, you was like, oh, man, it's your birthday, what you doing working? I'm like, man, we got to get this thing, we got to make sure this thing happens. Like, I mean, you're relentless, like, I mean, you work through anything, but, I remember you gave us, we went to a nice little restaurant.
Oh, yeah, you and your girl.
You threw me some money. Because I wouldn't have went there if it wasn't for that.
So. But it was nice, right? Barrett's. That was Barrett's Seafood off the chain, right?
Man, was it?
Yeah.
Was it? How? Man.
But that's the good. That's this good side of life, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been so blessed to have experienced such a quality life. But it hasn't always been like this.
Right.
I mean, my life started out real hard. I mean, I'm not gonna get all into that, but it started out real hard. So. Now, when I get a chance to kind of exhale and enjoy life, no one gets in between that. No one. So some people say, think that because of where you are now, oh, you got this, you doing this, you doing that you haven't had your moments of despair, your moments of you don't know how you can't see to the next day, the next minute, much less the next day. They think that it's always been that way for you.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
I got you.
So when I grind, I grind with a resolve that's, I mean, the way it was, as long as I have breath in my body, the way it started, it won't end like that.
Understood.
So my work ethic is different from anyone else that I know. Not saying that I'm any better than anyone, but if I'm into something, I'm going to work harder than everyone. And if everyone's working hard, then we all working hard in unison, in tandem.
Yeah.
My skill sets, where my skill sets end or begin and end, I'm gonna definitely make sure I have someone that picks up where my skill sets end and takes it to the next level.
Right.
So we complete that cycle.
Yeah.
That's gonna be someone else that's in my circle, because
right.
I need that person. I need those people. It's just like I just interviewed a new president for my company. And he's been an executive for an architecture firm. He owned his own construction company and everything. And so I knew where I'm going next. I had to have not just business people with me. I had to have executive business people.
Right.
Different mindset completely. We changed the format of our corporation from S corporation to a full corporation. We have a CEO, we have a treasurer, we have all those different components. We have a complex corporation that has filing, we have stockholders, we have board meetings, the whole 9 yards. Everything has to be planned out, executed. Where we're going next is and it's taken me a while to get here to where I can hire these people. Okay, you're the president, you're the secretary, you're the treasurer, you're the COO, you're the CEO, whatever the case may be. If that's my title, if I choose that, or I could just be a main stockholder. I own the majority of the stock, so I watch what they do, and then I basically can vote anyone in and out. It depends on how active I want to be in the corporation. But I'm building this corporation and what it does, so that when I step out of it, it still functions.
Yeah.
See, and that's what you want in a business. And for years, I've been what they call a mechanic in the business. If I didn't, I would do this over here, or I would do that. I would produce this. I had to be involved with it. And so I learned all of these different disciplines, and it was great that I did that. But at some point, as a businessman, you have to step back You say, now that I know these things, let me put this person here to may have a little better attention to detail, because everything is in the detail. The devil's in the details.
Yeah.
Get the details right, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah.
I've been blessed to, even though the details weren't always as perfect as they could be, they were as perfect as my skill sets would allow them to be, and it was enough to allow me to ascend to the level that I am right now.
Yeah.
But to go to that next level, there's a difference. When you go from in the hundreds of thousands to a million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 30 million or more, it's a different discipline.
Yeah.
It's different details that got to be taken care of.
Right.
And if you don't get those details right, that's the difference between winning and losing in your efforts.
Definitely.
So bringing on a new executive board to run the corporation only prepares us for the revenue windfall that we predict.
I got
okay?
you.
And it's just like what has been done with you, I like to say, in terms of preparing you. Now you're a corporation within yourself. Now the thing is, though, you have to go out there. You have to go in the studio. You have to make these CDs. You have to make the music. So you become you're a mechanic of your business.
Right.
But at some point, your catalog, if you execute well in this next phase of your career, your catalog will sustain you for the rest of your life.
Right.
And that's the goal. So all of the things that I might have discussed with you and Jews that I've dropped on you, all they were just preparing you so that when you get a chance to execute, people say it really seems like it doesn't take much effort for you. That's because they're judging you from the moment that they encountered you to where they're perceiving you're going. They're not considering your past and what all the sacrifice that you've gone through to get to where you are. So that now it seems effortless because you are a master at what it is that you're doing. And that's, at some point, we all have to get to a point where we are master at what we're doing. And you have, in terms of what you've chosen, your path at this point, you've reached a point of mastery. Okay, there's still some finite things that can be adjusted, but you've reached that point. And I've been there from the beginning, so I know. I've worked with masters, so I know. And it's not something I say lightly when it comes when I give I guess you can say a summary or synopsis of a person.
Right.
You are a master. You've mastered the craft of creating musical art, be it rap or whatever choice you choose. There's some other detailed things that we discussed that's going to give you the details, and create that formula so that regardless of what mega producer you're working with, you have a tool that you can pull out your toolbox that'll fit the track that he just made, or what they're trying to accomplish with a particular project.
Understood.
Because when they bring you in and they bring you into a big production, they're bringing you in because they see you as a tool that complete the picture that some producer has already visualized. Get Jay. I've seen his music. I heard his music. I've seen him. I think he'll be perfect fit. When they say perfect fit, because when they bring you in, they're not going to tell you what to do. They're going to say, do what it is that you do.
Yeah. Make it work.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Indeed.
Because that means that the vision that the dream and the vision that you have for yourself, you don't have to explain it to them. They already get it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And time built that. And that's how we're going to be on it. But, man,
Yeah.
like, you've always given time. Like, and I always appreciate that. Like, I know you're getting ready to come up on. It's almost time for your conference call and all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Words with Jay is brought to you by the Red Box Rhymes series. You never know what's in the box.
Usually these conversations are just between us. It's not meant for other ears. But, I thank you for being a part of this Words with Jay segment.
Yeah.
And it's always an honor to be around you, man. Like,
All right.
great guy, man. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, man. You're a great guy too. When I'm moving out to LA for a few months, maybe a year or so, but I'll be back and forth, and you're welcome to come out and hang out. You guys can check out my new project, the Walk on Roll is a TV show.
Okay.
We hopefully will be on my TVZ network.
Okay.
I'll be working with some of the top directors in the country. We're gonna bring something to TV that's different, and it's been a journey getting here, and it took me a minute, to accept the circle that I'm in. I'm saying these names that are huge, and I'm like, who am I to be able to say,
When
you know,
you
what
first
Johnson?
told me about the walk-on role, you told me about the concept, and I remember.
And it took three different. It's three different incarnations of that concept before we got to what the version that we're going with now.
I remember where
So
it was though. Like
Yeah.
I remember what, and then I think about the play. I remember when you yo Jay come through the rehearsal hall. Like I'm doing this play. I want you to see it.
Yeah.
Like I remember that, and I remember you took that to its peak. You know, until you felt like okay, it's time to go to the next thing. Like so
Each time from Kimball Theater, we moved it right on up, and now I'm gonna use an analogy that 50 said. You know, we've reached the top of the roof.
Okay.
For that particular enterprise. You know, and now what we need to do is move to another enterprise that's complementary. And would be like the next natural progression. It's not like 50 would jump from rap to classic. That's not a natural progression.
Yeah.
Us going from theater to television or film is a natural progression. It's another medium.
Yeah, definitely. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna work. You know, I'm gonna put my best
You've seen
foot
it all.
forward. Yeah. And I'm gonna take this Jay Saw thing to the ceiling. You know what I mean? Take it, progress that to the ceiling, and then I don't know. I'm gonna meet you somewhere. Like I don't know whether it's gonna be.
You know, if not, I see you as a great artist, but I also see you as a great producer. Also,
Yeah.
You know, you've done the same thing that I've done on the come up, and that is when you couldn't get something done by other people, you learn how to do it yourself.
Right, exactly.
See, and it doesn't mean that you have to be a master at it at that point, but you understand the requirements, you know, and you speak that language.
Yeah.
So when you work with someone that's a master at it, and they're helping you to complete your vision, you know, you can speak the same language, so you can get what you want out of that person, and that's really what a good producer does. And so the foundation has been built for you.
Definitely, you know, and I'm building that bridge. But you know, thank you for the few. You gave me enough pillars to get halfway across the water. So for that, man.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Always thankful, and you know we got a lot to do, man. Like and I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see you get to your next ceiling, man.
Man, this is gonna be a blast. Like I said, man. You know, I'm ready to get out to Marina Del Rey. You know, get the spot straight. And,
me too. I can't wait to come visit.
And you know, and just
dropping in.
You know, just do L.A., man. L.A. Everyone's out in L.A., man. And the thing is, I'll be in L.A. for a while. I'll be in Atlanta for a while.
Yeah.
I'll go out to Miami. You know. And then I'll hit some of the B and C markets out, you know, Detroit. I was in Detroit earlier this year and had an absolute blast. So I know I'll be going back to Detroit.
Right.
You know, I just go around the country doing my thing.
Got you indeed. Hey, do it, man.
Okay.
Be blessed, man.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Definitely.
Hey, love y'all, and check out the Walk on Roll. Any albums that Jay doing, I endorse. You know,
WordsWithJ,
and I'm always somewhere lurking behind the scenes, making it happen. Pay attention. Love y'all.